G'day everybody, it's Peps, it's J-Dog, and we are back for a massive round 15 lace-out review. A round of football that started out with a blowout and it finished off with a barnstormer. It was Footy Palooza at its finest, and we got every little which way to chat about it, and I can't do it without the great man, Jamie the J-Dog Wallis. So everybody joining us tonight, joining us live on the show, listening to us on your podcast, thank you very much because you make the show. You're our Lace Outlaws. Like and subscribe and join the Lace Out family. Big fella, once again, it's great to have you on board. I know it's been a massive couple of weeks for the Port Adelaide crew. Look at the smile on this guy's face. Hear the smile on this guy's face. Jamie, the J-Dog Wallis. How are you, big man?
I am very well. Peps, how are you going?
Mate, I am excited. I've finally got our audio ready to rock. I've got something special for you tonight.
You've got
you don't know about.
You've had a win under the Labor government. Well done. You've cracked the hoodoo.
Thank you very much. Just as good to see that the seat of Kooyong is not going to be all bad news. But more importantly, mate, yeah, it was just a great week.
Did you get to the games on the weekend? What did you get up to on the weekend?
I didn't get to the game. Unfortunately, I had parent-teacher interviews. Now, I don't know if you've had parent-teacher interviews recently, Jamie. They're completely different. Completely different. Mate, the chat is absolutely flying at the moment. Charlie Keegan's on there, the Roo Boy in there. We're going to have a crack at both of these teams. So much to get through. We're going to be spinning the magnets as per normal. We're going to get straight into the ladder. We have got a brand new stinger for a segment, and it doesn't include me. It includes the big man. He doesn't even know it's coming. I'm excited for it. We just got lots of spinning magnets, you name it. Rising star, all the good bits and pieces, big fella. But I reckon, look, we normally would ask how we went on the weekend, but I think we just need to sit back and just have a look at the absolute gorgeousness that was Footy Palooza! Because it was a weekend of football that I absolutely loved, and we have a ladder that is reflecting it as well too. So let's have a look at it. Let's get straight into the nitty-gritty of what's going on. And it's good to see that the team that deserves to be at the top of the ladder, the Melbourne Football Club, are back and one game clear. How is it that a team can be 2 games clear, lose 3 in a row, and just because of the great weekend, like I mentioned, J-Dog, of Footy Palooza and Super Saturday, they were able to win and get back on top with a crushing win over the Brisbane Lions. We've got the Cats, Brisbane, Fremantle and Carlton. 4 teams battling it out for 3 spots. But then you've only got Sydney and Collingwood on 36 points after that. The Western Bulldogs are only in the 8 due to percentage. Plus Richmond.
Decent
plus
percentage.
Kilda, who are sliding big time at the moment. The Gold Coast Suns, a perfect opportunity thrown away on the weekend to beat your mob. But they can hold their heads up high. Port as well, 28 points. So I reckon that's where it finishes. So any of those teams can still get in. I still think Gold Coast are a sneaky chance just with their draw that they've got. Adelaide Crows, they're out of it. GWS, they're gone. Hawthorn are gone. Essendon, we'll talk about them shortly. Wet Toast get another win on the road. And North Melbourne, 4 points and 52%. Looking like this could be the worst year of football since 2012 when the D's went 2 wins and a percentage of around about 52%. So it's no good for North at the moment. We're going to get stuck into them as well. But anything that surprises you there, big boy, at this moment in time?
I suppose mathematically how open the ladder is, although realistically it's probably not for my team. But Peps, not really. Western Bulldogs' percentage is very healthy for a team sitting on 8th position.
Well, it's interesting, though. Richmond are sitting behind them. They're only 4% behind. So between those 2 teams, then you got St Kilda, who are dropping games and dropping percentage faster than anyone at the moment. They're finished. That was a team that was sitting mighty fine. I think it was 6-2 at one stage. Something like that. Completely backwards.
8-3 before the bye.
Yeah, and probably should have stayed on the bye. You know what they should do? They should all get together and light up some more midgets.
You reckon
they
that'll
do.
fix it?
Yeah, look, they've got to get back to go back to the St Kilda Social Club. Just get on it on the sauce after a big game, and just get back into the swing of things because it ain't working at the moment. And having a look at what they did on the weekend, especially down their forward side of things, it ain't right. I don't even think they're a finals caliber team.
Peps, the most surprising thing for me at this time of the year with this ladder is just how healthy Carlton are looking to potentially lock in a top 2 spot, Peps. Like, they are in game for a top 2 spot.
They've got to get top 4 first of all.
Yeah, I think they'll do that.
Yeah.
They've got a reasonable run home, I believe.
Well, the Geelong got a great run home. So Melbourne have got a tough run home, but that's how you want it. You want to play against the good teams. Geelong have got a bit of a semi-decent. Brisbane have quite a number of games at the Jabba. Fremantle and Carlton. So, look, I don't think anybody outside of those 5 teams are going to make... And I know they're the only team sitting on 40 and 44.
Well, here's Carlton's next few games. St Kilda this week.
Win.
Eagles the following week at West Coast, though. Carlton. Carlton versus the Cats at MCG. And then Carlton versus the Giants. And then Carlton versus the Crows. And then they finally end up with having to play the Lions. And then you guys...
they've got a couple of easy ones and a couple of testers at the back end.
Yeah, I think they're up to their neck in it.
They're up there. They're balls deep. Let's be honest. They are balls deep into making the top 4. But they do need... I reckon they're going to have to pinch one against Brisbane, Melbourne, or Geelong. They're going to have to pinch one of those. They're going to have to beat one of those top 4 teams to stay in there or actually make it.
But Peps, anyway, let's talk footy.
Hey, we want to talk footy. I've got so much to talk about. And you know what? Just a couple of things. Tommy Roker's back. I know Tommy was here a couple of weeks ago. He got a little bit frustrated that we didn't talk enough footy. Tommy, we're going to talk about your Suns because they played in a cracking game over the weekend. And Tori, we love Tori. She's back again. She's off to Adelaide to watch the D's.
Shit stirring on the Facebook socials.
It's true, though. She just wants to make sure, and she's just asking a question to all our Lace Outlaws out there. And it's simply this. She just wants to know that if she goes to Adelaide this week, besides rabies vaccination, are there any other precautions that anybody would recommend that she needs to take?
Take a shiv.
Take a shiv, yes. Especially if the Port Adelaide group have day release. You don't want to get shanked in Mundle Mall.
Robbed.
Mundle Raw.
The Mall's balls, Peps. The Mall's balls.
Mall's balls. Exactly right. Hey, let's get into the footy side of things. Can we... Let's swing some magnets. I want to swing some magnets first and foremost, all right? Because there was so much stuff to come out of this weekend of footy. How could you not want to swing the magnets first and foremost?
Love it.
So what I want to do is I want to look at this a little bit differently. And how I want to start is I would love to start with the bad side of things.
Okay.
So that means we're just going to go over to our good mate, Ronald Dale, and ask him for some advice.
Haley off, Ellingworth on. Bloody weakest piss.
All right, J-Dog. First and foremost, can I just say, you know when a television show comes along and it's a phenomenon?
Yes.
Okay. Stranger Things. What a great show. Have you watched it?
No.
My kids love it. My wife loves it. Paranormal. Flashback to the 80s. Lots of songs. It's up to season 4. If you like a little bit of retro, that's the type of show for you. But if I have to hear Running Down a Hill by Kate Bush one more time on any radio, TV ad, or anything whatsoever, I am going to off myself. I cannot. It's everywhere, J-Dog. Running down a hill. I go into Coles. Running down a hill. I go into the Macca's drive-thru. Running down a hill. Go to my proctologist. Running down a hill. Oh, it's giving me the freaking shits, J-Dog. I'm over it. I just want to go in, get my proctology exam, and get out without having to listen to Kate Bush again.
Well, what else is annoying you, Peps? What else is annoying you? What other things are annoying you that you're hearing at the moment?
Another one that annoys me, protected zone. But there has been some good news to come out of that today, which we'll get into very, very shortly. But the protected zone, I reckon I saw the worst protected zone.
No, I know what you're talking about. Don't go there.
I'm going to go there.
It was a push over the boundary. It wasn't a protected zone for you.
What do you mean?
You're talking about the North Melbourne one?
Yeah, wasn't that protected zone?
No.
Oh, I'll take it back then.
No.
I'm willing to make a mistake.
They zoomed back. The player was pushed, but it looked like it was a protected zone off the bench.
Got that one wrong then, Jamie. I'm willing to admit that I'm wrong, unlike some others on this podcast. Can I ask you a question, Jamie?
Sure.
What would it be? I reckon there's a few of them on the chat right now, so this one's aimed at you. If you're an Essendon supporter right now, your team went from absolutely first-class chicken salad last week to complete chicken shit the next. What is wrong with this club?
I don't know. I sit back and listen to people like Lloydie. I love listening to Lloydie talk about his football club.
Why is that?
Well, he knows it. Like, what? It's like when you sit back and you listen to Nathan Buckley talk about coaching, or just players who have lived in that moment. They speak about moments of football. Listen to Lloydie talk about how his club is has no brand. It's lifeless. It's soulless football.
They're a boys' club.
They need to get tough. I love listening to Lloydie give his old team shit. And I know that the old players tend to be harder on their own teams. That's just the medium what it is. But
actually, no. I reckon some players are softer on their own team.
Okay.
It depends on how out of the game, but he was always willing to give it a slap from the start. I want to read out a text. I got this text came in on the weekend from
It's
an
not
Essendon
going to be the one
supporter.
that I sent you, is it?
No.
Okay, cool.
So he was talking about Essendon, and he just basically started this. Travis Buchanan, he's an absolute gun, loves his golf, awesome footballer. He made the team of the century in Townsville many years ago. That's how good he is. Carlton are a perfect example of getting the right people. Brian Cook to run the show and Voss to worry about coaching. Surely the Melbourne Storm get this right every single year. Whether Rutten is the right person or not, I don't know, but I want Mark Williams at our club. The guy wins flags. And he said exactly what I said a few weeks ago about people with no emotional attachment to the club. That's what supporters are for, and the odd special guest that functions. He wants people who are completely neutral to this club, who have no attachment to it, to come in and strip this place and work out what the hell is going on. Because it's not working at the moment and nothing is going right. And to serve up what they did against West Coast, they looked lifeless, not energetic, didn't want to be there. They're almost waiting for the end of the year. I love the way, like you said, Lloydie got stuck into them because they deserved it. And I don't know if Rutten will survive. You look at him one week and go, we're back, and then I also think their players are lifeless as well too. Like, I watched my team, Melbourne, play last week with Max Gawn out.
Yeah.
We'll get into this a bit later. Jack Viney said, fellows, I'm only 5'8", jump on my back, and I'm going to take you to the promised land. Yep. Who from that club, Essendon, says, boys, jump on my back and get ready for the ride we're about to take? Who?
Well,
who would lead that team into battle?
Well, the likes were spoken about, like your Drapers and people like that were spoken about. The future captains coming through. I don't know, but, for a club that promised to play blue-collar football, there's something like 17th or 18th in tackles and those sort of what we call blue-collar statistics. They're not tackling hard. They're not working hard. So they're not prepared to put their head over the ball.
Uninterested. They're lazy. Is their game plan too tough for them?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
J-Dog.
But Peps, I'll say this, Peps. West Coast now is a different team than what we were looking at West Coast 5 weeks ago.
Well, they've actually got AFL players playing for them this week.
I have.
That makes a massive difference to it, all right?
And West Coast back home is still a tough trip in football.
Yep.
To go to my 10 points, Peps, you think that's...
No.
Do you think...
No way.
Okay. All right. It is a tough assignment. They're not going to be the last team to lose. They're not going to be the last team to lose to West Coast this year.
They're not going to be the last team, but they promise so much They delivered. They played their best football all season, and that was what they served up on the weekend was 10% of what turned up. So I
can't
just
disagree.
get it. Last thing I want to also highlight is North Melbourne. I'm not going to here to bash North Melbourne, but they're going to be having another football review by Jeff Walsh again, who's been in and out of the club so many times over the last number of years, can't even count it. But it's just not looking good for a game. This team, for the first time in AFL, VFL history, have lost 10 consecutive games by 40 or more points.
It's a record.
It's a record. But you know what David Noble says? No one beats North Melbourne 11 times by 40 points if they get under 40.
Yeah.
It's not looking good, and I don't see the way out of it. They're going to have a grind for so many more years. It's going to be a tough one. It's going to be a tough one.
For sure. And something has clearly gone very wrong at that football club. David Noble had them playing what we both thought was going to be a pretty exciting brand of football coming into 2022, and it has seriously gone sideways in a big way for that club.
Who's had the worst season, North or Essendon?
Oh, North.
North.
I'm talking like Indiana Ocean difference of how bad their seasons have been. Like, North is so bad. It's a hell of a drop. I mean, Essendon are probably the conversation's there because what are they? Three wins, 11 losses this season after coming off the finals last year.
I've got my mate over in Perth at the moment, Lee Moss, absolute superstar. He lived next door to me for many, 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 many years. His dad and my parents still next door neighbours. Mm-hmm. He reckons I've been pissed off since 2000. Well, yeah, you did give us a spanking that day. But if you times that by 3 and then add a bit more, that's probably how many days since you've actually won a final, Leroy. So you haven't done anything since 2000. It's 2022. I'm just going to look behind me. Okay, and I'm going to look into the future, and they're both looking good for our club.
Maybe one for the.
Love to have you on the show, but don't go throwing stones in glass houses, my friend, because you're silly shite.
You love attacking our own audience. Okay, Peps.
That's my job.
If you were a supporter of a football club travelling as bad as North are right now,
yep.
When Sonia Hood came out and said, that there are deeply concerning issues at the club, and she shares the fans' pain amid the club losing record run.
Yep.
How would you be feeling as a North Melbourne supporter right now? Excited for the future? Excited for a new coach? What would you be feeling?
Lost.
Yeah?
Yeah. You don't have to go back as far as probably 11 or 12. My club were lost.
Yep.
186 points.
Well, let me ask you this, Peps.
40 to Essendon.
Did your club look forward to coach sackings when you were travelling that badly? Like, what were you looking forward to?
Well, we used to sign up for our memberships, go to the family day, have the best and fairest, and then announce a new coach. Every year. It was like clockwork. All right? So I think you just want to see a ray of hope. And I don't know where that is at the moment.
What would you do? Would you back him in?
Pardon?
Would you back him in? If you're Sonia Hood right now and you're looking down at this internal audit, what would you do?
I don't see how you can, J-Dog. And I really like David Noble. Mm-hmm. But maybe he's just one of those ones who's a really good assistant and just doesn't cut it there for...
Can any of this come back onto Brad Scott or Heath Shaw? Not
Heath Shaw? No, I don't think so.
No.
The only one I could maybe Chris Scott for the fact that he sacked so many the older players when they shouldn't have. I reckon Melbourne did it, and I know I keep talking about my club, but this is what I can relate to. When they got rid of like James McDonald, Brad Green, Bruce, Uze in that sort of stretch, they had no senior players to lean on.
No.
Now, outside of Goldstein and Zeeble, Cunnington hasn't been there. Who are the older players leaning on? Who have they got to set the standards?
Yeah.
And I know that's why Melbourne got Jordan Lewis into the club, because they needed someone to set the standard at a higher level. Stevenson isn't going to do that. Aaron Hall isn't going to do that. So these players that they've brought in from other clubs, Coleman Jones, they're not going to set the standards. You need a big ticket item to come in and set the standards for this club. And the only one who's doing
Noah Anderson, he's good. I think
he hasn't set the standard. You need someone from a premiership team to come in and who'd be perfect for that group?
Who?
Nathan Jones.
Yeah, maybe.
He set the
Probably
standard.
Set the standard, yes. But
You
probably
need
a step
someone to set the
or
standard
two too slow for the midfield now.
Yeah, I get that, but you need someone to set the standards. He would be perfect for them as an overseer. It's a tough one. You know what? Also, you're gonna laugh. If I took Jack Rewalt out of Richmond and threw him down, that's another one who would set standards. Trent Conchard would be a perfect one. Perfect one.
Yeah.
To set the standards. Down there. You need that.
So then Peps.
Good one, Roscoe. Like it.
I think North supporters are definitely, but the way they just collapsed under Adelaide from quarters 3 onwards was just...
Their belief is gone. Their self-drive is gone. Everything's gone. Like I said, I don't want to sit here and talk about North because there's a massive story that's happening today that we want to get into. So I want to park the bad stuff because I want to highlight a couple of the good things. So that means that we're going to be handing out
3 votes.
Exactly right. 3 votes. Rightio. We all love a sports documentary. We've seen The Last Dance. We've seen the 30 for 30 series. You name it, we've seen it. There's a cracker now on Stan. If you haven't had a chance, please go ahead and do so. Barassi doco on Stan. It's an absolute freshie, 2022. Well worth the watch. Get on and have a look at it. Mwah. Rightio. I didn't know much about this guy, and I watched him on the weekend, and I just went, wow, Tyson Stengel. Like Geelong, talk about getting a fresh draft pick literally in the club for nothing. OMG, wah, wah, wee, wah. How exciting is this guy, J-Dog? Why is it taking me until round 15 to see what's going on with Tyson Stengel?
I don't know what you have been looking at, Peps. He is
a ripper.
He would make you nervous if you had him one out in the forward 50 with the ball between you and the goal.
Oh, yeah. He's Toby Green-like.
Whoa, pump the brakes.
I love Toby. It's Pickett-like. He's just one of these Cyril-like in the fact that you have to. Where is he? Where's Stengel? He's got that. Where's Stengel about it? And it's just that last play of the day. We're going to get into that game because you couldn't have asked for an absolutely better round of football than Footy Palooza, and it was an absolute belter. And that last play of the day, OMG. Alrighty. Mate, I did not mind the Friday doubleheader. There's nothing like a good doubleheader.
I'm dropping out of this. I'm dropping out of this meeting.
You didn't like it?
No.
I didn't mind the early late game.
Nah.
No.
Not for you, but anyway, continue on.
No, I just didn't mind it, J-Dog. I just didn't mind it, okay?
You wanted to run until 4 a.m. You loved that.
Doesn't matter. I'm not going to watch both games, but it gives me the chance to watch.
Oh, so as long as your team plays the first game, you're happy to cop a doublehead Friday night.
No,
you'll sit back.
It wasn't that bad, Jamie. It was 9 o'clock start, 9:30 start. Big deal. Games used to not finish until halftime, until 10 o'clock. Remember, the games used to start at 8:30. Coverage started at 8:30.
Yeah, I know.
So
I remember it.
A difference. So I didn't mind it. It's better than a Monday night game, and I'll take it than a double header on a Sunday. I'll take that because you're sitting down watching it. You flick it on. You never go to bed before 11 o'clock on a Saturday anyway.
For a Saturday.
Friday night, you mean? Yeah.
Well, I'll go for I'm up early. Yes.
Yeah, okay. And Nick Paddywhack, give the guy a bone. He's back, boys and girls. And is he going to light it up for West Coast? He played in the Waffle on the weekend, and he is looking forward to a massive, a huge, an exciting game against the Tigers this week. And where's this being played, J-Dog? Is it being played in Perth or is it being played at the MSG? Because if it's being played in Perth, upset alert.
You reckon?
Upset alert. Upset alert.
No, the game is being played at the MCG, Peps.
No upset alert now. Take that back. Richmond by 10 goals. All right. Anything that you want to quickly bring into it before we get into the news? No,
I just want to talk some footy. Let's talk some Rising Star, though, Peps.
Oh, Rising Star. Yes. Rising star. Now, rising star alert for this guy. He was good. How good was this bloke? Round of applause for the young, versatile Port Adelaide young gun, Lockie Jones. The round 15 NAB rising star who played a magnificent, crucial, vital role in their cracking win against Gold Coast on Sunday. What can you tell us about this guy, J-Dog? He's close to your heart. He's part of your team.
Well, he looks like a 27-year-old walking around on a 20-year-old's body. He's got
good hair.
He's got probably one of the best mullets in the AFL, if not the best. In terms of what he's all about, he was probably one of the players. We've got a stack load of halfbacks at Port Adelaide. We've got so many of them. He has played the halfback line predominantly for his whole career, but was used up forward against the Suns and had a number of key contributions across that half-forward line. He's a big tackler and big pressure player, very fast and loves a tackle. He kicked a goal in the first quarter and finished with 16 disposals, 2 marks and 2 tackles, but the impact with 8 score involvements, 3 direct goal assists, including a pinpoint pass to Todd Marshall and a brilliant holding the ball tackle midway through the final quarter.
And he's got a good mullet mustache combo going.
Oh, it's all going for him.
But it actually looks half decent, not like Draper's. Draper's got the sideburns like Monty Burns. Cut those sideburns, Strawberry.
That's the person I think of every time I look at Draper, yes.
Oh, it's putrid. But yeah, I watched that game and it was a absolute blitzer as well too. So good on you, young fella. I actually thought, first of all, he was older than that.
Yes.
And B, he'd already got one. I keep getting him mixed up with Darcy Byrne-Jones.
Yep.
From a looks perspective, but definitely not from a footballing credential perspective.
No.
Couple of things that have come on the chat so far is Sack Noble from Tommy Roker. Tori Williams, I remember working in the memberships for all those bad years at the D's, trying to start folk to renew their memberships and often getting the phone slammed in her ear. That ain't good. And they can also have Ben Brown back. I think that's a bit harsh. I don't think Ben Brown, once again, the delivery to the Melbourne forward line for many, many weeks has been putrid. All right. All he has to do is make a contest, bring it to ground. That's all we can ask for. And if he's able to slot a couple extra, not too bad as well, too. Sunderland Till I Die, another great documentary series as well being mentioned. So get on that one. That one's on Netflix as well. All right. J-Dog, is it time to actually, I think we might open it up with this. I think it's time for your segment, J-Dog. Would that be Around the Grounds?
Sure, let's talk about it. Let's go through it.
Start, I think we might just open with this.
It's time for Around the Grounds with Laceout's #1 newsbreaker, Jamie Wallis. Over to you, big fella.
You've had way too much fun on the weekend with your new toy. Anyway, all right. So, obviously, the news has come out. It was a huge hit on the weekend. Of course, we're talking about Tom Stewart and the late hit on Dion Prestia. It has opened up many, many channels of conversation. Should we bring back the sitting out rule or the sin bin rule? Should we do this? How many weeks should he get? Was it intentional? Blah, 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 blah. Anyway, it's all come out. Wasn't a great look, Peps. Let's just say that. Dion Prestia, if you haven't seen the footage, essentially, Tom Stewart went attack on Dion Prestia, who had the ball in the vicinity of the area, got him high. Dion Prestia basically laid on the ground for bloody close to 2 minutes. And he was referred straight to the tribunal, fair enough, and has been given a 4-week penalty tonight. So the media talks were anywhere from 2 weeks to 5, 6, 9 weeks, but I think most footy plaudits ended somewhere between sort of 2 to 6 weeks, so 4 probably feels about right.
Are you serious?
What, 4 weeks? You think it should be more?
We're going to get into that in a minute.
Less.
All right. First of all, I got a message come through on the chat from one of our loyal listeners, Joe Jovanovic. Now, Joe is Donna's husband. We speak to Donna quite a fair bit.
We do.
All right. He sent me this. And I'll read it out verbatim. Tom Stewart's hit on Dion Prestia is a coward's punch disguised as a fair bump just playing football. And I'll put my argument. Tom did not have eyes for the contest, nor did he have eyes for the ball. He didn't go towards the contest. He went past it. His eyes were on Deon all the way and had time to pull out of the contest, but he had time to prepare, prime himself, line him up, and execute. That's not part of football. Deon is going to miss games, even though Tom did give him a short-term brain injury. So that we know that he's given a short-term brain. That's what a concussion is.
He's going to miss. He's going to miss.
We know it can lead to long-term and devastating brain damage. Our most important organ is our brain, and without a healthy mind, life can be unbearable. And it's the player's family that have to live with the outcome. The action happens on the field that is a serious assault, almost a coward-like punch. 4 weeks is way too low, and it's not because it's Dion. It's the AFL, because they're not serious about protecting players' short and long-term health and then act like they should be investigated by the AFL. The consequences should be far more serious, as in a long-term exclusion and not being able to train with the club, a heavy fine, a suspension that is double what you might think. And one more thing, the fine, if he gets one, should go to the player they hit for their retirement superannuation.
Well, what do you think? Thanks, Joe, as well. Thanks, you, Mr.
Yeah, and
Joe.
thanks for that. Like their messages, like I said, if you send a message, we'll read it out. That's what we do. Right. Is the penalty suffice? Can I just put a couple of things next to this?
Sure.
All right. I'm going to compare them to some big margins or some big bans that have been given over the last few years.
Sure.
Right. Toby Green got 6 weeks for umpire contact. Paddy Ryder had a stationary bump. He got 2 weeks for that, if you remember a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, I remember that.
Paddy Dangerfield on Kelly, 3 weeks, which I still don't think was enough. Andrew Gaff on Andrew Brayshaw, 8 weeks. And one that was close to your heart, Scott Lysett on Ned McHenry got 4 weeks.
Yep.
All right. So Scott Lysett gets 4, what he did to Ned McHenry, which is the same as what Tom Stewart got. One was in a football action, which was a tackle.
Yeah.
Second
Scott Lysett
one-
was a tackle. Yeah, ragdolled him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But how big is Hickey compared to McHenry?
Yeah.
All
No,
right.
I got you saying.
So there's the power to weight ratio that you've got to look at.
Oh, talk about.
So Toby Green gets a Toby tax for an umpire contact, and we don't agree with that whatsoever. So 6, I don't mind. But how he only got 4 for what he did, the AFL, I don't know what the AFL want. I don't know whether they're saying, we don't want you to do this, because they just don't seem to give, like you're saying 2 weeks?
Some
Was
people said 2
right?
weeks.
We don't know. It's early days. But Prestia, he may never play again. We don't
let's
know.
not jump to
Let me
conclusions.
put this in perspective.
Let's not jump to worse.
Hold on. No. I'm not jumping in shadows. Because you've got to look at the lasting effects of concussion. There's the short term and the long term. Brad Shepherd, Daniel Venables, both retired due to the ongoing effects of concussion. So they got concussed, never played again. Paddy McCartan had 8 concussions in his first 35 games. 8.
Yeah, if he looked at the shadow the wrong way, get a concussion.
His eyes were going whoop whoop, headaches. That's when, and I think this is where it is. Like it's because we don't know enough about the brain, Jamie. This is we've got to take this more seriously. Now I can understand if it's a tackle, right, and it's a football act, and I understand that. Okay, 4 weeks, but this was a bump, so he chose to bump. Went straight past. He didn't just bump him. He cleaned him up. He was out before he hit. He was gone. It was 2 minutes laying there, J-Dog. I haven't seen anything. When people are on the chat going, whoa, Prestia, whoa, Stuart, what has he done? Oh, he's got... That never happens unless something like this. This blew up.
Yeah.
What chat blew up? And when I saw it, I went, oh, mate, that's... Personally, it should have been a minimum of 6.
Okay. All right. I disagree, but that's fine.
So what do you disagree with?
Because the ball was in the
take
vicinity,
out the good
and
boy-
like you always tell me, watch it at full speed. Watch it at full
I
speed.
did watch it at full speed.
Yep. So he was trying to. He elected a bump. I absolutely agree with that point, and that is. I don't know. You and I just disagreed so many times about this. When I say he chose to bump, he takes the risk on.
Certainly.
No doubt. Stewart chose to bump, and he got Prestia high. That is clear cut. I don't know. I don't try and predict what the AFL is going to give anymore to tribunals unless the AFL want to go and say we want to challenge the 4 weeks and upgrade it to 6 weeks, which that it is absolutely at their discretion. They can do that.
No, they won't do that.
But they have, and they can.
Oh, who'd they do it to?
If they feel that they want to do it, they can do it.
How many
That's part
times
of
have
the
they
rules.
challenged it?
No, probably only once or twice.
Did they challenge Toby Green?
I can't remember which one they challenged. It was one where it was a talking point like this. And maybe someone in the chat can jump in. But I don't know, Peps. I don't play the prediction game with this anymore. 4 weeks, okay, move on. That's how I feel with it.
And I understand that. All right, let's. I think what compounded this issue as well is that Stewart stayed on the ground.
Correct. Let's open up the conversation. Yeah,
And that's our next part. Stayed on the ground, basically racked up posse after posse, BOG'd it. All right.
Yeah.
So going by that, should there be some sort of yellow card, red card, sin bin like like the NRL? Should we
No.
bring something along those in for situations like this?
No.
Okay. Why not?
Because I genuinely fear that will then be, it will start with, the howlers like the goal line technology, and then all of a sudden you're getting balls from 70 metres out, touched, and they're going and zooming in on fingers that are 70 metres out from the goal line. I feel it's going to be turned into one of those. Green card, yellow card, or red card, then we're going to be arguing about the same shit over and over, but mid-game.
I went to a local game on the weekend, and the yellow card was brought out. The guy was off the ground for the rest of the quarter.
Swearing at the umpire?
Now striking.
Striking, okay.
Striking off. For the quarter, come back on. I do think there needs to be something. And here's my reasoning by it. Because they're a man down.
Correct.
They are a man down.
Have to bring their sub on straight away. Yep.
Right? So why should Geelong have the advantage? And we're not talking about if, buts, and maybe. We're talking about Barry Hall type against Staker. We're talking about Gaff versus Brayshaw. We're talking about Tom Bug on Callum Mills a number of years ago, where it was like smack, out cold. Like there's no two ways about it. It happened.
Yeah.
They're the ones. For the indiscriminate stuff, I'm not worried about that. That can work out in the tribute. But for the ones that like this, there is no way you can deny what happened. I think there has to be something because the team that gets the injury is the one that's worse off in more ways than one. They're one player down already.
Yeah, I don't know.
And the person who does the act gets off with literally nothing.
I don't know. For me, it's just footy. It's just footy. That's what it is. It's been like this has been happening for decades.
Yeah, but you're always the one for change, Jamie. You want to change.
I love a
There's a
change.
opportunity for change.
I love a change.
It's not that hard.
But
If
I
it's-
feel
if
it's going to
it's
be
late-
abused. I genuinely feel it's going
How
to
could
be
they
abused.
abuse it? How
Because
could
they're
they
going to
abuse
start doing swearing at the umpire 5 minutes in the bin.
No.
And then they're going to start bringing out a colour-carded
Clean cut.
system.
It's only for extreme
So
circumstances.
once again, it's interpretation. And then
No,
we're going to have
it's
this
not for
conversation
interpretation.
every
you put
week.
the video up and go, Brayshaw, Bug, Stewart. That's what we're looking for. That's the level.
So concussions only.
Doesn't have to be concussion. If they go around and
What if an
absolutely-
umpire feels
Yeah,
threatened and they give a 5-minute red card to someone?
No.
Because they swore at them.
There's no 1 quarter business. It's just you're off for the rest of the game. It has to be something along these lines.
Yeah, maybe we can
There's
workshop it.
no-
We can workshop it, Peps.
Well, let's workshop it. Let's do it. Let's get a round table. Let's get people of the game committee going. All right. I just think that there's got to be something there, but I'm more concerned about the lasting effects of the concussion.
Oh,
And Tommy Roker's just
completely.
giving you the no. You're wrong. You're
I
wrong.
thought Tommy would be with me. He'd be
No.
for
Tommy's
traditionalists.
still looking towards the finals for his Gold Coast mob. All right. Hey, a good news story, J-Dog, is
Yes.
about the umpires and the 50 metres relating to protected zones. What have we got there?
Peps, Finally. It's like they're listening to the podcast. It's like they've been listening to you rant every week now, Peps. There's going to be a change.
We shouted it from the rooftops. Please, AFL, do something about the protected zone. Please.
And they did.
Yes, so they've cracked down on players trying to exploit the rule by running and sheepdogging around the back and trying to separate themselves and run left and right and trying to do a big bloody Top Gun maneuver. So yeah, no longer playing a 50-metre penalty against players infringing the protected area of a mark or free if they have split from their opponent after the AFL cracked down on an exploitation of the rule. And the league on Tuesday informed the clubs that the rule tweak would come into effect from round 16 around the contentious area of the 50-metre thing. So it was about... I actually don't even know the rule. Is it 5? Is it 10 metres? What's the protected area?
10-metre protected zone.
10-metre protected zone. As long as you're trailing a player by 2 metres, you can be in that zone.
Yep. But what had happened was there were times where the players were getting behind the player and then they'd go one way, then quickly go the next, and they'd get separation.
Oh, yeah.
It's just common sense, Jamie. Like I'm going to tell everybody who's here, go watch a local game. The umpiring at a local football level is so much better than the big leagues because they just let the game go.
I do agree.
Organically.
If the player is not going to have any impact on that current play, what's the harm? Who gives a shit?
Exactly. But they don't do that. There's too many interpretations, and
the worst, the one that does me.
The tighter your grip, the more that slip through the fingers, the more star systems slip through your fingers, and that's what's happening. More of these little things are slipping through the fingers.
And that's the thing. Like, I hate it when you're at the game, and all of a sudden you got a free kick, and you're like, yeah, cool. Not you, but your opposition, your team you're barracking against has got a free kick. And then all of a sudden, the umpire blows a whistle and starts calling a 50, and you're like, what was that for? And then someone says to you, oh, the player ran within the protected zone, and you're like, I couldn't even see that. Like, I can't even see that when I'm sitting at the game. Or even on TV occasionally, you can't even see it because the 10-metre zone goes right around and the cameras can capture all that play and bullshit around them.
I hear you, brother. I hear you big time.
Anyway, what's happening, Peps?
Pardon? What else is happening? Can we have
Game
a
of the year? Game of the year?
Pardon?
What do you want to talk about?
I want to talk about the can we talk about
Footy-palooza, because it was a great weekend of footy, and it was a
weekend of games. Can I just go through these games, J-Dog?
Sure.
The game of the year, Cats versus Tigers.
Yes.
Once again, the chat was going nuts for this game. It ebbed and flowed. Teams up by 5 goals. Another team up by 3 goals. Team gets up with 2 minutes to go, thinking that they're home. Morris Rioli Jr. slots a critical one.
Yeah, it was a ripper.
Liam Baker just turned the game on. Stengel was amazing. Jeremy Cameron, good luck stopping. It was just a game as a football lover you want to watch again. It was both these teams, all right, I know Geelong won, but both teams came out winners on this game.
Yeah, it was a beauty.
It was a genuine, each team dominated for 50%.
Yep, it was a beauty. Great game.
Gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. There was a statement game. The Blues versus Fremantle. Carlton, my friends, they are genuine premiership contenders. And that's what people say. The love machine, my brother Mark, he reckons that the Blues have a lot of 2018 Melbourne Football Club about them. Where they
2018.
might pinch a couple of finals, maybe get to a prelim, but could get blown out of the water because they haven't got that finals hardness yet. Which maybe.
Well, I don't know.
Maybe.
Every game we talk about the Blues coming up against the Test, they pass it with flying colours. Like, we're talking about a red-hot
They are red hot,
Dockers.
but premierships are not won in June, my friend.
Yeah,
we know
but
that now.
still,
I know.
it's bloody
They
exciting.
can only beat who's in front of them. We know that.
Fremantle are a top 14 Peps. We're not talking about just like some run of the 16th, 17th team. We're talking about top 4.
No, totally understandable. Totally understandable.
And they didn't just like get by a couple of points. We're talking 6 goals, Peps.
Yeah.
Not 5 goals.
Don't get me wrong. Fremantle were atrocious. They were atrocious.
They had the lead.
They were
the first
atrocious.
quarter?
Yeah, they had it early, but not
After
for
the
the
second
majority of it. Yeah. But
I don't know.
Blues, and if Mackay doesn't get you, Curnow doesn't. If Curnow doesn't get you, bloody Sam Walsh.
No, 40 possessions on the weekend.
Just a casual forte.
13 contested.
Oh.
7
Seriously, it was
clearances.
like looking into a mirror with a redhead.
6
Going back
score
to my career from
involvements.
25 years ago. Did I
How
rack?
old's Sam Walsh?
Pardon?
How old's Sam Walsh? 22? 23?
No, 21.
Oh, that's right. He's still
He's 1 year older
He's
than
still
Luke
eligible.
Jackson, which we're going to get into in a moment. What about the Remember Us game? The D's versus the Lions.
Yeah, that was a good one.
That was a good one because going into the first quarter, I'm like, oh, here we go again, Melbourne. And then they just turned it on. And Jack Viney, my goodness, he might be short in stature, but he's got a heart of a lion. If he had the white headband and he wore number 12, it would be his dad.
Yeah.
Like they play exactly the same way. Just follow me, boys. And Luke Jackson was magnificent in the ruck. No Gorney there. And even Sam Wiedemann, who's been much maligned, he was really good in the ruck, like as a support mechanism to Gorn. So
Well, Peps.
they were just back to their brutal stuff. Like you watch that game and they were just good luck trying to get out. And if they play like
correct.
that for the rest of the year, and I said it to somebody, I'm not being biased, but when they play like that, no one's going to beat them.
Well, what is it? I think you guys had 37 scoring shots the night, which is a record for you since
Of the grand final.
since 1998, something like that.
It was massive.
But Pep's
Yeah, it
biggest,
could have been 100. It could have been 100 if they'd kick straight.
Yeah, easily. Where are the lines at Peps? If they're going to win the grand final, they've got to come down here and play in the MCG, and that horror record continues
They
for
haven't
them.
won here for what 12 years or something. But that's a lie, that type of stat anyway, because unless you play down here multiple times throughout the year, there's some years they might get one game. So I think it's like their last 10 they haven't won down here. Okay, so you haven't won the last 10. You only have to win one. I just think I look at, once again, their forward line, when it's on, but when it's off, it doesn't scare you.
But
Hipwood
Peps,
doesn't scare you.
we're not talking about 2 goals, 3 points, 2 points.
No, but
we're talking
don't
10 goal
scare me.
blowout, Peps. 10 goal blowout.
Jamie, if Neil doesn't fire, their midfield are pedestrian. Their back line is susceptible to pace. Their midfield susceptible to pace. Their forward line, Hipwood doesn't do enough. Mind you, he did kick, I think, 3 on the weekend. Joe Danaher, if he could kick straight, would be an absolute champion, but he can't. Charlie Cameron either really fires or does nothing. They were blaming Zorko and Berry being out, but that's only 2 players. We had Max Gordon and Tom McDonald out. So I don't think those 2 would have made the difference. I just don't think that, once again, I just don't think they have a hardness about themselves. And on the bigger grounds, they get found out.
Yeah.
All
Oh, it was just a really good game. A really
All
good
right,
game
this
for
one's
Melbourne.
yours. It's not over yet. Port
Well-
versus Suns. What a cracker. Like, we spoke about this game last week, and we said it's actually a great weekend of footy, and we'll get into how good of a weekend, tipping-wise, it was. But what a game to finish off the weekend. And it reminded me a lot of the Cats versus Tigers game, where both these teams could walk out going, we were fantastic. I still think it should have been a deliberate out of bounds in the last 10 seconds of the game. And if you're trying to tell me it's not,
Please.
come on,
He
mate.
had, he had 2 players out there on the boundary.
and he missed them both by about a metre. So
That's easy to do.
if that was 15 minutes into the third quarter, it would have been paid.
No.
Look at
Fair.
me, Jamie.
It's
Look at me.
fair. He had 2 players
But
there. He was
it was a
trying
great
to get the
game.
ball. He was getting tackled at the time. Please, people, please spare me.
But I love everything about what these 2 teams are doing. I just love everything about what these 2 teams are doing. Isaac Rankin, his last 8 to 10 weeks have been sensational.
I know
He's
that the
brought in-
talk's
he'll
been
run
about
up.
Jeremy
He's-
Cameron.
Noah Anderson just keeps getting better. Rao looks like he's getting more of the ball. Jared Witt's possibly the second best ruckman in the league.
Unbelievable on the weekend.
Shoal and Casbolt down forward, 2 people that clubs didn't want are just firing for them. And even down back, Sam Collins, he's got a dirty mo, but geez, he plays good footy.
Yeah.
I love the way that they do. And your mob, Connor Rosie, like, I know they go on about him a fair bit, but I can see it now.
Yeah.
Like when you watch some regular games, he's good.
Yep. And I guess this is probably for me.
Tommy, they weren't gifted a win. They still kick more points than you.
Probably
You should
one
have-
of
yeah,
the
that- fortunately, I
first
mean, Goldfish won it.
games. One of the first games that I've actually sat down and just watched Ben Ainsworth go to work. 22 disposals, 11 score involvements. Ben Ainsworth is a legit Jet that I think probably needs more praise. That I don't know if you saw the kick across the body to Alice standing about 15, 20 metres out directly in front. That kick went behind him as he kicked, like his leg wrapped around his own body. It was
I'd
the
love
most...
to be able- That's how I hit a golf ball, Jamie. I don't mean to do that. And he did.
Unbelievable.
Remember
Unbelievable.
in the granny where Petrarca 90 degrees to Tommy McDonald in the last quarter, just bullet past him. It
Yeah.
reminded me of that. It was just like, you sit back and go, mate, you're good. You are good.
Unbelievable.
And Tuke Miller, love him. Just love everything.
Probably
about him. They've got a massive future. You know, even your club's going all right. Todd Marshall, he's
Yeah, responded.
growing into himself, which is good because the reliance on Dixon isn't there.
Well, we had to because Wits was tearing us apart, so we had to move someone on to Wits because Finlayson was just getting absolutely torn a new one, and Wits was basically between Wits and Tuke Miller, they were taking the game away from us, so had to happen.
Oh, it was just a great game to watch. Just a great, like I said, it was just a gun game. It was a gun game.
Yep.
What about it's not over yet, part two, which was Western Bulldogs versus the Hawks. Like, I think I picked the Hawks for this game, looking at the ins that they had. I think it was Warple, Lewis, and I can't remember who the last one was.
Yeah.
But the Dogs, they're starting to get their groove back. Their midfield's getting their groove back. Riley
Wow.
West, his last few weeks have been like he's found his spot now. They're going to be better for when Josh Bruce comes back in. Whether they've left their run a little bit too late, I don't know at this stage. But it was just great. It was just great to watch. Like
Peps.
and the Hawks, they can hold their heads up high. Like, you know, did we expect too much for them this year? Maybe, but a lot of clubs on the radio were talking about how a lot of clubs, when they're going through a rebuild, focus on defence first and go that way. Mitchell just goes, just attack, boys.
Yeah, just go for it.
The only thing that I was really disappointed by was the fact that Cody Waitman played. I don't think you saw any of him running around. He did not bend his arm. He did not bend his arm any smaller than 90 degrees for the entire time. He looked like, you know, when you buy those action figures, like the He-Man action figures from the 1980s? That's what his arms were like. They were just stuck. He was useless. I wouldn't have played him. He was a liability out there. He didn't do anything. Come off a dislocated arm. You've got to think a little bit, clubs. And mate, you dislocated your elbow last week. You were playing on adrenaline the week before. Just give it a week off. Nah, just don't think so.
Peps, what's the number one? I remember growing up, my dad always said the number one rule was you never touch Bruce Doull's headband because you just lose it.
Yep.
How do you feel about Norton's headband getting touched and
I
taken off
thought
him?
it was funny.
Yeah, I don't know why people get so upset about it. I thought it was funny.
It's just because people are sooks. Let's be honest. It's a shit-looking headband too. Let's be honest. Like, there's no flair to it. He hasn't got the Jaden Hunt colour-coordinated headband. He hasn't got the private label Spider Everett headband going.
No, that's true.
He hasn't got the Lionel Messi, you know, branded headband. He's got this white thing that he's probably picked up from a bargain bin at Target
Yeah.
with the matching wristbands. Like, it doesn't look too good. But hey, mate, the guy can play. There was a mark he took.
Vice.
I reckon it was in the last quarter or third quarter. He come from the side and just clunked it over the top of the pack, and I just went, "Oh, this guy is special." Like they often talk Carey-like. He has got the best hands in the league. He can come from anywhere. That bloke.
Hands as good as Healy. That's what I always like to say.
Oh, he's. I haven't seen. I thought I'd say there's better hands on a clock, mate, but no way. He is immense.
It's in there.
There's another weekend to forget game, which was West Coast versus Essendon.
Why did people say this for? I didn't think it was a bad game.
No, I just think that's for Essendon. It's just another week to forget.
Oh, okay. All right.
West Coast were good,
Yeah.
but Essendon here were just like it's the shoulder shrug. I should have called this the shoulder shrug game, because West Coast. Well, where's this been all year? And Essendon gone. It's the same thing we've been serving up all year.
Yeah.
They're just no good, and it's amazing. If you listen to any Essendon supporters, and everybody knows them, if you don't know one, introduce you down. Are you back for Essendon? Just ask them, who would you get rid of? And I reckon they'd roll out all 18 players.
To all the Dylan Shield haters out there, everyone, Essendon, another impressive game for the Bombers. Match high 9 clearances, 7 inside 50s, 11 contested possessions, and 8 score involvements. Maybe Shield's starting to find a bit of form now.
Oh, I just hear one person go, "Get rid of Redmond," and then next minute somebody puts on the chat, "Redmond for captain." Like, come on, make up your minds, people. So I just think that they're going to have it. They're having their review as well, too, aren't they?
They are. Yep,
So
they
that's
certainly
not
are.
going to be too good, whichever way that works. And, well, the game to almost finish this weekend off.
Well, there we go. Hang on. Let's talk about that.
The full support of the board game, North versus Adelaide.
No. Let's talk about... We're sort of spoken about North a little bit.
Yep.
Essendon.
Yep.
Is Rutten safe?
Nah.
Not after a performance like that?
Oh, yeah.
Or not after the season like this?
All season.
Okay.
Something has to change. Something has to change.
3-11, isn't it? 3 wins, 11 losses.
Right.
Something like that.
We tipped them to finish in the 8.
I'll tell you what, my
I
tipping
did.
is absolutely red hot this
Costello
week.
picked them to finish in the 8 too.
All right, let's talk about the other game. Let's talk about North. Go on, North and whoever it was. Don't remember now. Who was it? North and someone.
Well, I did get a snapshot of the crowd at the game. If you'd like to,
North and Crows, yes.
That was the crowd. Well, I don't know what you can say. North
Tex was
are
good. Tex was good.
disappointing. He kicked 7.
Good result.
Fogarty kicked 5, so it was good to see a bag.
Fogarty with a good mark, but almost mark of the year.
Yeah, but that's just not really, Jamie. That's pretty stock standard. It
For
was.
this year.
It was. Big Oscar McInerney took one over Ed Langdon in the goal square, and it was the most awkward thing you've ever seen.
Peps,
It was like you jumping on a midget.
North Melbourne.
Yep.
It's very, very alarming.
The whole thing's
They lost the tackle count 86 to 57. That's 30 tackles less in
And
a
you didn't
team
have
that
the
you lost
ball.
by 10 goals.
and they didn't have the ball. They had Ben Mackay down in the forward line. They were trying everything.
Yeah. Yeah, that was weird, wasn't it?
Have you had a call during this podcast recording from the North Melbourne recruiting team yet?
I'm waiting because, I mean, if
It could be a chance. It could be a chance. We might even
be.
give a spot on. We might give that as a raffle prize on this podcast. A spot on North list. Would you take the prize?
to play for North,
Yeah,
oh, you consider it.
you'd consider it. So it was just disappointing. Adelaide getting the win. They play the D's this week in Adelaide as well too. So it's not going to be an easy game for the D's. It's not going to be an easy game for Adelaide. But we'll do this again next week. We'll have a look at just a cracking weekend of footy. But I'll tell you one thing though, Jamie, and this is going to be the only disappointing thing to come out of it.
Have we missed a game? I think we missed a game, Peps.
No.
Yeah?
What?
Collingwood Giants?
Oh. Well, that was the game that we forgot. Collingwood.
And St Kilda and Sydney.
we mentioned the Saints.
What are you doing, Peps? St Kilda
No.
and Sydney. You've missed a
Oh.
couple here. That's all right. You
Yeah,
pick which
three
game we're going
games.
to talk about. Which game we're going to talk about?
Saints.
Okay, let's talk about the Saints.
Putrid. They're back to Shakilda, mate. They're back to Shakilda. What more do you want me to tell you? The Swans only had to do what they had to do.
Well, I suppose you talk about the Saints a little bit. Peps, if you were a Saints supporter, would you be stressing out thinking you missed the 8 now, or are they still up to their neck in it?
Jamie, I've told you, I spoke to my mate, Mark Caruso,
Yeah,
one
I
of the
know.
finest footballers I've ever spoke to him early in the season. Oh, mate, you must be wrapped about the Saints. Mate, we're shit. Do you remember when he said that?
Yeah.
He wasn't wrong. He said we are shit, and this week you'll hear Brett Ratton getting another contract extension. Ben King
Damn.
doesn't do enough. When he's getting it on a platter, magnificent, but when he's not getting it, doesn't work hard enough.
Hey, at least the Saints have the class to walk away from a teammate disagreement, Peps.
What are you trying to
Unlike another club who like to
well,
go to
unlike-
hoity-toity places and then have a punch on and wreck a
say? Yeah,
restaurant.
well, we don't pull out halfway. We put everything into everything that we do. We do it 100%.
Peps, Sydney had taken 13 marks inside the forward 50 and converted in 7 goals from those. That's pretty good kicking.
That's not bad kicking. And you'd like to see where that spread was, where the heat map was too, where those marks were. Were they 15 to 30 out? Because that's the sweet spot.
Well, to give you like the rich and the poor version, the Saints had taken an equal low 5 marks inside the forward 50 of that same game, resulting in just one behind. Yikes.
Yikes. Yep. No good at the moment.
Um,
No good. Collingwood?
do you see them working their way back?
No, they're finished.
They're done? Okay.
No.
And Collingwood. Go for it. Hey, hang on. Swans. Like what you're seeing? Not like what you're seeing? Finals? Not finals? What are you thinking?
Not top 4.
Not top 4, but
They'll
somewhere
play
between
elimination.
5 and 8.
Yep. They'll play eliminations. They're not top 4 material. No.
Okay.
They get beaten too easily one week and do something magical the next, like the Western Bulldogs smashed them a couple of weeks ago, and then they serve that up. So it doesn't. They're too flippy floppy. When they're on, but there's not a lot of consistency with the Swans at the moment. I don't think.
I think this game here, Peps,
There is one team that's a bit consistent. Well, this mob of about 18 minutes to go, 5 goals up, and then the Giants decided to play some footy. Jesse Hogan decided to get a bit more of it.
This was
Camillo's
low-key one of the best games of the round as well.
What's that?
This is low-key one of the best games of the round as well.
Yeah, it was a
This is
great game. I'll let you know
exciting.
what the last
This is
quarter of this one's
exciting.
been. Taylor Adams almost cost it.
Oh,
But
this
yeah,
is an exciting game.
did you see the one where Ginnivan got tackled and his opponent was given the umpire the mate? There's actual audio.
No,
of
I was
it.
watching my
Oh,
game.
mate, he does this every week, doesn't he? He's pointing at the score, but mate, look, he does it every week.
Yeah.
Yeah, but no, hey, you can't blame Collingwood for what they do. They're doing everything right at the moment. They're playing good footy. I think it's 5 in a row for them.
They did. But though, if you're a Collingwood supporter,
Yep.
are you a bit nervy because the Giants kicked the last 7 of the last 9 goals to reduce that margin of
I
10
don't know.
points? Is
I
that just
don't
is that a
know.
Collingwood fade out? We've seen this consistently under Collingwood now for a couple of years.
No, I wouldn't say it was.
Okay.
Because a couple of weeks ago they kicked it 8 out of the last 9 against Melbourne, so it was the complete opposite.
Jesse
So I don't know
Hogan,
what
4
it was, but they might have just put the Q in the rack.
Ooh.
I don't know. It's a bit of a hard one because they were in front for so long, and then maybe it just started switching for the things that weren't paying off for the Giants started to take over.
Yep.
Yeah, I think both clubs. I think if you have a look at the whole weekend of footy, most clubs held their heads up high. Usually there was blowouts. The only blowout that we didn't have was your footy tipping. 8 out of 9, wasn't it?
8 out of 9 this week.
8 out of 9. The only
Told
team
you.
it was.
I don't know actually who it was in the end. I don't even care because I was riding that high.
8 out of 9. You said it's an easy round to tip.
It
All
says a
home
very
teams.
easy round.
Well, you
Tip
weren't
the home
wrong.
teams.
Tip the home teams. You can't go wrong. Well, he was right, listeners. So for Jamie the J-Dog Wallis, my absolute superstar, round of applause
Thank
for you,
you.
great man, because
Thank
you
you.
deserve every
Oh, Adelaide Crows.
Adelaide Crows. All right.
Missed that one.
Look at that. All right. All right, really quickly before we get into it, got some announcements to make too.
Mm-hmm. You going to tell the rest? So you're just going to sit there and talk to yourself?
Here we go. Money talk.
Here comes the money.
Dollar, dollar.
Dollar bills. Get ching, 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 bling, bling. Hey, lots of dollar bills coming for some players this week. And the 2 big ones, Tim English has signed up with the Doggies. So that leaves one ruckman target left for the Western teams, and he's by the name of Luke Jackson for the Demons. But he signed up again for another 2 years, it looks like.
Mm-hmm.
And Lockie Neal, who has played probably better than his Brownlow year, has signed up for another 3. So that takes him through to the end of 20.
He was never leaving Lockie.
So they're the 2 big ones. Plenty of other ones to be signed up over the next few weeks. It looks like
Brayshaw.
Brett Ratton. I heard
Amon.
if Jackson goes, I'll be doing a Brayshaw plus 3 first rounders for Jackson.
Amon.
Lots. Plenty.
Horn Francis.
Wallis. Pepper. Up at the end of the year. Hey, Facebook question, J-Dog. Have you got our listener question for this week? What have you got special for us? Because we were
yeah,
talking
I
about
wanna-
the Palooza last week, and
Yeah, no, that was a good one, Pretty Palooza. No, I want to know if we did bring in the card system, how would you do it? So how would you do your card rating system? Because I
Card
don't.
rating. So you're talking the send-off rule?
Yeah, send-off rule. So what things would constitute a send-off?
Okay.
How would you do it?
What was that? What constitutes a send-off? If we brought in a card rule, send-off rule,
Sin bin, whatever you want to call it.
how would you judge it, determine it, etc.? All right, like it. We've talked about it a fair bit tonight. Easy done. 1 week at a time. I got one game this week. Is there a game that catches your eye for this
Certainly
week?
is.
Round 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. There's only 8 weeks of footy left, J-Dog, for some teams.
Yep.
What game catches your eye, my friend?
Well, it's going to go all the way to Friday night. Carlton versus St Kilda. What a game. More for the Saints to see how they respond. And this will... I know it's not really an 8-point game, but it's sort of shaping up for St Kilda to be an 8-point game because there's more on the line for their season with this game here than...
Do you know there's 4 8-point games this weekend? So Brisbane Lions, Western Bulldogs this week.
That's a cracker too.
And Gold Coast, Collingwood. And that's at Metricon.
Yep.
That's going to be a corker.
Port Dockers.
And Port Dockers, another good one as well too. That was I was looking at Gold Coast, Collingwood as the one that's getting my interest up, but definitely another great game to finish off the weekend at 5:20 p.m. Fremantle Port. I like that slot. Absolutely love it.
Perfect for an Adelaide spot. I mean, perfect for a WA slot.
It's perfect for footy, J-Dog, and that's what we are all about. So remember, get on the Facebook page, give us a like, get on Spotify, get on iTunes, give us a review. Tell us how awesome we are. Tell everybody how awesome we are. More importantly, Tipped Out will be back this week. Tell us how the audio sounds as well too. If you like the audio, because we've got some new equipment, a big investment by moi and J-Dog to make us sound as sexy as possible, because we know this is the number one AFL non-affiliated club podcast this side of the Westgate Bridge, and you know it's true. And it's laced out because that's how we like to give you your footy too. So we'll be back next week, 8:30 p.m. Me and the J-Dog talking round 16. But it's round 15 this week. So to everybody who's tuned in, thank you. Everybody's been on the chat. Thank you very much. We love each and every single one of you. Have a great week. To my co-host with the most, the great man, Jamie the J-Dog Wallis, I have one question and one question only for you, and it's simply this. Big fella, how do you want your footy?
I want it lace out.
Have a great week, listeners. Take care.
See you,
Thanks for
listeners.
listening to our latest episode. If you haven't done so already, make sure to subscribe, rate, and leave a review on iTunes. I'm your host, Chris Pepper, and with Jamie Wallis, we give you your footy how you want it. Peace out.
Idiot.
Wasn't supposed to do that. Hey, we're done.